So you got in trouble for that. Your sport looked at you, an actual woman, and said, because you correctly called Ann a biological male, you were suspended from your sport and you remain suspended to this day?
Yes, I can't compete.
Oh my God.
I did have the suspension reduced because I got a lawyer involved and we appealed it through a third-party organization. But the thing is, Megyn, Ann's been actually the one harassing people. Like, I don't know if you saw the clip from back last March, making fun of women in their bench press and how weak we are.
We have that.
The whole year, they've just disciplined me and threatened me with discipline. But yet Ann can actually make threats towards me. He made threats last week towards Premier Daniel Smith, like literally death threats. And they cater to this mentally ill, narcissistic man's feelings and puts all the women's feelings and our mental health aside and fairness.
Premier is like a local government official in Canada over in a certain province. We have that with Ann mocking the women. Let's watch it.
Welcome to Ann Says Something Controversial. Why is women's bench so bad? I mean, not compared to me. We all know that I'm a tranny freak, so that doesn't count. Standard bench in powerlifting competition for women, I literally don't understand why it's so bad. My son, he weighs 45 pounds. His max bench is like 33. I'm legit seeing some women in competition who are doing something like 50 pounds.
I mean, it's not surprising to me to see somebody like Ann espousing misogynistic tendencies. It's the irony of a lot of these men who choose to pose as women. Many have a deep-seated hatred of women. I don't know Ann, but that's what I hear when I hear those comments.
Well, exactly. And I mean, that's the way it's been the last year, right? And so, I mean, how do you think I feel knowing that they're catering to him and putting my needs aside? Like, I just told you my story of sobriety. Not once have I said, oh, you know what, I'm going to go relapse and drink if I don't get my way. But, but we all have mental health issues. So I just don't know why they're catering to this like small minor community. You know what I mean?
Well, and then I've been given a Facebook post, I think it's Facebook, by my team. And my understanding is this is Ann coming after you in just vicious, vile terms. I'm going to read some of it, but has this guy been threatening you explicitly?
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, those were the threats. He got upset because I went on, I think it was Fox News, and talked about the basketball players in the States, how they've been injured, right? And he basically, and that was the same day, I guess, some teenager in Oakland got not bullied. Well, it didn't come out that they got bullied. And then I'm not sure if they committed suicide, but basically he blamed me for the death of the teenager in Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. And Premier Daniel Smith said that we were the cause of that, person dying, basically. And then went on to threaten us and said that we should, die a very painful death. And so I did have to call the police on Ann. Here's
Ann to our audience. Ann is fully allowed to participate in this powerlifting sport as a woman, okay? But our guest April is not, because she spoke out about it. Here's what he posted on Instagram. Okay, pulling out some of the relevant pieces. The same fucking arguments against trans inclusion has been, problem with the subject-verb agreement, has been used historically against Black inclusion. That fucking terrible human being from Ontario makes profits off of hate. The same effing week, I'm done with fucking with this guy. The same effing week, a human child is killed for being trans. That self-righteous bitch, sorry for gendered insults, I'm pretty angry right now, goes and talks about how a trans basketball player is hurting women by playing. You don't give a F about women. You care about hate and making a quick buck off of it. You effing sicken me, and you promote this kind of thing. There is no hell, but times like this, I wish there was, so you and Smith can spend eternity suffering. Anyone who supports the Ontario lifter, this is about you, we understand, and is just as effed up as she is. Spend some time actually thinking about the people around you instead of just yourself. May your generation die painfully and leave the youth to inherit a better world. Wow. So this is about you. You're the Ontario lifter, yes?
Yeah, I'm the Ontario lifter. He has said many times that April Hutchinson is the Ontario lifter. So yeah, I'm the only one that's been obviously using my voice, right? So
you contacted the police, rightfully, in response to this, and what happened?
Well, I called the police and I told them I had to actually contact the Calgary police. I have contacted the London police where I do live because of a couple of Anne's friends here in my city have basically stalked me, harassed me, gone after my job. So I have 2 reports against them, but I did have to call the Calgary police on Anne because, I mean, Anne does have family living near me. He does come to Ontario to visit. I do feel threatened. He is an unhinged man, in my opinion. This has to be documented, this type of behavior, right? So I mean, for sure, if anything else happens, I'll document it again.
So is there going to be any reprieve within your sport? I mean, in the wake of his behavior, his clear threats against you, all you've done is say, Anne's a biological male. And by the way, whoever needs to hear it, Anne is a man. Anne's a man. It's biological. He's a man. I don't care what he does to himself. He's a man trying to compete wrongfully and unfairly in women's sport. Get out, Anne. Get out. I can say whatever the hell I want because I live in the beautiful United States of America. I hate what's happening in Canada with free speech. But good luck, Canada, because guess what? Your people listen to me too. He's a man. Okay. Anyway, is the sport doing any sort of a reversal or kicking around a reversal to let you back in and ban him?
Well, I mean, I can start competing in November because my sentence got reduced. But honestly, my federation has done nothing to support me. Even last year when I wrote letters about Anne competing, I got ignored. Again, they just sent me threatening letters. They have not been there to support me whatsoever. There are some biased board members, and that's probably why I got banned, because I'm sure they have some personal agendas themselves. But I mean, I've had no support. But you know who has supported me is the international governing body. They've been basically great to work with. I've also had obviously other people like Riley Gaines and other strong women that have been spoken out. But I've gotten nothing from my federation. But a lot of lifters have put complaints in about Anne, about the threats. I can't put a complaint in because I'm not a member right now. But I'm hoping, if Anne doesn't get suspended, then that just goes to show you, the complete bias. And, maybe they're afraid to get sued. I'm not quite sure. But no one's ever said we don't want Anne to lift. We just want a separate category. We don't want Anne to be lifting with the women. Yeah.
That's the thing is here in the United States, truth is an absolute defense to defamation. You can be sued for defamation, but if what you've said is true, the person can never recover. And that's why saying Anne is a man is just fine here in the United States. I don't know what Canada, of course, is built on different principles, doesn't have our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, all the things. But it's just so disturbing that we've seen this with Jordan Peterson, of course, Gad Sad, our pal who's north of the border. But so many in Canada have had their tongues tied by the government or some governing body that just doesn't want them thinking wrong thought or speaking wrong speech according to, I don't know whom, people with an agenda, what have you. So what do the women say, April? Are they thinking at all about banding together? Like if you all don't compete, it's not going to be a very meaningful competition for Anne. Would they ever do that? Because my impression in general in Canada is, with all due respect to our lovely neighbors up north, they don't all have the fortitude that you do.
Well, no, and that's the thing, right? We have this Bill C-16 in which Trudeau put in there to basically protect a gender expression and gender. So basically they added that in to, sex and race has always been there, but they now added gender. So a lot of people are afraid. But I have to remind people, and I do remind people in my lifters in my federation too, right? You do have freedom of thought. We have freedom of thought, right? I mean, let's just say if I was a religious person, right? And which I do believe there's only 2 genders. People can't take that away from me.
Financial experts thought we were in the clear. They were anticipating around 6 rate cuts by the Fed this year, and then the inflation data came out higher than expected. It's not going away. Not anytime soon, that's for sure. How could it? The U.S. is $34 trillion in the hole, and yet we keep printing money, which pushes the prices you pay every day even higher. So you can either bury your head in the sand or you can do something about it. One option to consider is to diversify a portion of your savings into gold with Birch Gold Group. Gold can be your hedge against inflation, and Birch Gold makes it easy to own. They will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, and you don't pay a penny out of pocket. Text Megyn, M-E-G-Y-N, to 989-898 and get your free info kit on gold. Then talk to a precious metals specialist about how you can choose to protect your savings from persistent inflation with gold. Text Megyn to 989-898 now. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.